Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream, and it's a holiday weekend Friday. I mean, it's not the weekend yet. I mean, it's kind of the weekend, right? It's Friday. Hopefully, most of you who are watching this during work are gone and not at work and got an early start to your weekend by now. So if you guys aren't here today, totally cool, and I'm happy for you. But for those of you who are here, I'm happy to be here with you guys. Happy to have everyone here that's on the podcast version as well on Friday, May 28th, 2021. Hopefully everyone listening in on the podcast is having a good run today. The weather here in Chicago was not summery at all. It was 45 degrees, raining for most of the morning, so I got a little bit of a later start because I wanted to try and duck some of that rain. But the winds were like over 20 miles per hour sustained, like 40-mile-per-hour gusts. And the lake was angry today. So I got super soaked. I got very wet. Even when I was trying sometimes I intentionally try to get into the water and run around a little bit in some of the lake water. But today I was trying to avoid a lot of it. And I couldn't because it was just too crazy. In fact, the cops turned me around, not just me, but the cops turned me, everyone around on the lakefront path at Oak Street at the curve over there. It's that same spot where I always get real nervous that I'm going to slip on ice in the wintertime and get sucked into the lake. That same spot, because of like the way it's formed, that takes a brunt of a lot of the weather. So that's where the cops were, and they were mad. They thought I was going to try to go around, and I just wanted to get some footage of it. And so like they got out of their truck and were like, "You got to turn around." I'm like, "I'm turning around. I just want to take a look at the lake for a second. I got my camera out and stuff." So that was a little bit tense because I was like, "Why are the cops getting out of the car?" But they just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to try to run by him, I guess. I don't know. I feel like if anyone was trying to do that on a bike, they for sure would have got washed out into the lake because it was pretty nasty out there today. But everyone else going out for a run today, hopefully you have better weather. And everyone watching this on YouTube after the fact, hopefully like you're relaxing because you're deep into the weekend at this point. You're just chilling out, having a nice beverage. I've got my afternoon coffee. Hopefully you got something a little bit more interesting in that and just relaxing and starting the weekend. All right, let's see who we got here in the live stream. We got Philip Bourne saying happy Friday. Awesome. Chris Yow's here, says happy Friday, friends. Watching the cat chase around bugs out on the balcony. That sounds actually kind of nice and relaxing. Our dog used to eat bugs all the time. Because, even though we live on the 7th floor or we live high up in the air, it's just like, there's still bugs around. Like I don't know how they get all the way up here, but they fly up. And the dog used to eat bugs a lot. And now he's just kind of over it. So it's kind of disappointing. And it says, hi, happy Friday, Kofuzi and everybody. What's going on? And it's good to see you. Rami Yana says, happy Friday, all. Stephen Gertler says, happy Friday. Sam Renlet says, happy Friday, watching while I foam roll for today's run. It's a colder weekend in New Hampshire after the recent heat wave. 50s all weekend. It's great running weather. That is good running weather. I don't know what the wind's going to be like here, but like temperature-wise, I really wish we had the temperature this weekend, last weekend. And then I guess we're close enough now that I can start looking at the temperature coming up for the Ultra next weekend. So, yeah, I have to do some research. Ted Ruth says, hey, what's going on, Ted? Or Ruth? Or Ted and Ruth. Good to see you. Ozen Fan Backstro says, what's up? And sending out some good vibes. I love this photo you got here, Ozen Fan. I'm very happy. Han Bozy says, good evening, everyone. Awesome. Recycle on Wednesdays here. And Running Man Sam. What's going on, Sam? Good to see you again. JC, Frank, everyone's here. Frank says, Chicago is windy? Weird. Every time I think, I was like, oh, it was windy out there, I think of that Simpsons quote. Who wants to fly to the Windy City? Conditions are windy. Yeah. But, there isn't a lot of stuff that I think of that doesn't relate to some sort of Simpsons quote at some point. Iraq Onkra says, Chicago right now, it's Halloween weather. Yeah, pretty much. I ran in gloves again. I was ready to put the winter running gloves away. Like earlier this week, I was like, I'd left them out somewhere where I kept like walking by them in the house. And I was just like, I got to put those away. I think I'm done with those for the season. And then, nope, I needed them today. Definitely needed them today. Steven76 says, yo, what's going on? Good to see you, Stevie. Chris Larson's here, says, happy Friday. And Paul Kane says, happy Friday. Easy rolling strides today. Bank holiday weekend to look forward to. Awesome. Yeah, I think it's interesting that you guys call them bank holidays. I guess everywhere calls them bank holidays. Here we don't call them bank holidays. We have during national holidays for us. For us here is Memorial Day weekend. We take time to remember those who are gone from the military service. Not because of military service, not necessarily just people that were, let's say like killed in action or anything, but people who served in the military who are no longer here. And then we have Veterans Day later in the year that recognize our living service members. And that's what we call this weekend here in the US. And normally this weekend, I run the Soldier Field 10 mile, which is one of my favorite races. Lots of sentimental value in that race for me there, because that was kind of the race that got me excited about running again. But this year, I mean, I don't even know if they're having it or not, or if they even are doing a virtual thing, or if they were just like, forget it. I don't know. But that one takes place at Soldier Field, which is where the Bears and the Chicago Fire play. Our local soccer team club. Is that what you guys call them, clubs? Football club. So our football club and our football team play at Soldier Field. So that entire stadium is a World War II memorial. So, it's kind of nice to do that there, but that's not going on this year. So maybe I'll have to go run a 10 mile this weekend to keep the tradition alive, I guess. But yeah, we got a 3-day weekend here too. So it's nice. It marks the unofficial start of summer in the US. Starting this weekend, and some of it's been happening already, like the bathrooms that are along the lakefront path are starting to open up. And I think they should be, I don't know if they're going to be bringing back water fountains this summer. They took them all away last summer because of, we didn't want to be all drinking from the same communal things. And you weren't really supposed to be on the lakefront last summer anyway, at least for a big portion of it. But yeah, I don't know if the water fountains are going to start being out again. I don't know, but usually it happens at Memorial Day. So yeah. Jeff Al says, Kofuzi, when are you going to sign up for an Ironman? I think I might try and do the Chicago Triathlon this year. I'm not sure when it is. I think it's in September usually. So I might see if I could do that, or better yet, if there's some sort of even shorter distance thing that I can do that's somewhat in this area, like the Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin area, or maybe even Indiana, like something that I could do that's real short. Yeah, I think that's probably what would be a little bit more my speed. Yeah, because I mean, an Ironman, I wouldn't survive the swim. I think. I mean, the farthest I've ever swim without stopping is one length of a pool. I don't think I've ever been go down the pool and come back. I've never swam that far before in my life. So yeah, I got some work to do. I think I'm making it out to be a bigger obstacle than it is. I think I just gotta I'll probably get a coach and coach / swimming instructor, somebody can tell me what I'm doing, and figure it out. It's just a matter of I haven't had the experience yet. It's not that I can't do it. That's what I'm telling myself. I gotta say it. You know what? Today, even though it's kind of cloudy outside, I feel like the light is really good in here today. I think it just looks great. I don't know what it is about it, but I feel like the lighting's nice here today. All right. Rob Shooter says it's 88 in Vegas right now. I'm heading to the gym to treadmill. Yeah, I guess, always greener on the other side, right? Yeah. Ramiana says, same weather here in Detroit area, but the forecast this weekend is looking really nice. Oh, that's awesome. That's glad to hear that. I mean, you always want nice weather on a long weekend, right? Stefanos Nigger says, happy Friday. Just one question. Which earphones did you wear in your race? I wore the Jabra Elite 85T. They worked out fine. I mean, it was hot, but I wasn't dripping with sweat on this race, so it was good. I've been wearing these same earbuds, basically all year long, or basically since I got them. I'll test other earbuds, and those will go in temporarily. But basically, whenever I'm not testing something, that's what I go back to. I love them, but I have found that when I'm running downhill real fast, I've been trying to do some hills and run on some kind of trails and stuff. When I'm running downhill real fast, I feel like they're about to pop out. So I'm going to bring them to this ultra next weekend. And I think they'll be fine because I'm not going to go that fast, but I'll be thinking about it. It'll be something that I'll be thinking of, All right. Old Fool's Gold says, I'm a high school runner. Yeah, high school runner whose username is Old Fool's Gold. All right. I'm a high school runner trying to break 17 in the 5K. Any tips? I'm at 1907 right now. Well, you got a long, I mean, I'm not saying you got a long way to go, but that's quite a bit to improve. But in high school, you can make dramatic improvements really quickly because you're younger and your body's going to tend to respond really quickly to stimulus. The things that I would look at is, you know, I don't know if that's like a one, you know, a 1 year turnaround kind of thing. It might be a couple of years it takes you to do that, depending on how much experience you have to get to 1907, right? So like if you're already a senior and you're at 1907, you know, or if you're a junior and you're going into your senior year and you've been running cross country for 3 years, you know, getting to 17 could be a stretch, but depends on growth spurts and when people are developing, you know, not impossible for sure. But if you're a freshman or sophomore and you're at 1907 and you want to hit 17, I think by senior year, you can certainly do that. Again, maybe even faster if you hit a growth spurt, or if you hit, you know, your body's changing. So like, who knows what's going to happen. But it sounds to me like one of the two things that I would recommend is more mileage generally. I'm not saying you got to go out there and run 80-mile weeks to be able to run 5Ks for high school, but I would say, you know, like making sure that, you know, in your off seasons, especially, that you're getting in that long run on Saturdays, because you're not racing every weekend, you know, so get in those longer runs. You want to be getting up to like 8 miles, 10 miles for your long runs, nice and easy. Maybe even longer than that. I mean, I remember we ran like, if we would run like a 6 mile run on a Friday, and I'd feel like that was like a really super long time. But, you know, I peaked at 18:40 or something like that. So I was never the fastest. I was like number 6 man on the team. But to get to 17, I think you're going to need to make sure you're getting in a longer run regularly, once a week. And then, I mean, when you're in season and training in this race mode, that's different. But like when you're in training mode, base building mode, you want to get that once a week long run. And then the other thing is consistency. You know, take time off in between seasons. But like, you know, what I used to do is at the end of track season in the spring until like about, you know, 2 weeks before practices started up again in the fall for cross country, I wasn't really running. And if you want to make big improvements, like going from 19 to 17, you can't be doing that. So you got to make sure you're staying with it and just keeping consistency. That summer running doesn't have to be hard. It could just be getting out there, you know, early in the morning or late in the afternoon before you go meet up with your friends, you know, that kind of thing. Just get in, you know, an hour run a handful of times a week, you know, 5 times a week, 4 times a week. Maybe one of those days is a long run, and make sure you're just building in those miles. That's going to make you real strong, right? Real strong for those races so that you can pull in that 17. So those are the 2 things I would recommend. That was a long answer. I could have really tightened that up, but sorry about that. Hopefully that answers your question. All right. Scott says, hi all, day off today, intervals this morning, and now relaxing. Nice. Ted and Rooney says, you know, in terms of my interaction with the cops this morning, he says, usual low-key attitude and approach from the cops in. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I told my wife about it, and she was like, you know, seems like they could just have some park district employees sitting out there rather than 2 cops. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it didn't look like these were 2 rookie cops. I feel like these are kind of pretty choice assignments, I guess. Although it's kind of annoying, right? But I don't know. I'm not sure. There was one time, I mean, I've experienced a variety of levels of pleasantry from the cops whose job it is, or at least that day, is to turn runners around when it's too dangerous along the lakefront path. And one time I was running down, kind of like the normal spot where, you know, you guys have seen me run when I'm running down towards Hancock Building, and you could see like the lake on the one side and the building up front, and just like a wide pathway. I was running down that way, and then one time a cop is coming up, driving along like the path, and like it turned on its lights. And I was going to run to the cop and then turn around. And then, you know, it got on its bullhorn, and it was like, turn around. And yeah, it's like, don't you understand? Turn around. And it was just like saying that over and over. And I'm like, I totally understand. I mean, I don't know where we're going with this, guys, but, you know, I get it. But like where we are right now, it's not covered in water. So I can run another 100 meters. You know, I don't know. They were just, I don't know. I mean, the thing that I do understand and recognize is that they've had to send out like Coast Guard and like fire department and EMT to go rescue people that get sucked into the lake. That happens. So I understand like they could be somewhat annoyed that people are like, I don't know. I'm assuming that they're considering it that we are recklessly and needlessly putting their lives in danger. I think that's where that all is coming from. But I also just feel like, I don't know, I think they get really excited about yelling at people sometimes. That's just my experience. I mean, I'm very fortunate. That's like the worst of my experience with police. All right. All right. John Brian Serrano says the Chicago Tri is on the 28th of August. Ooh, I like that date. That's a nice date. I don't know how long that one is, but that's how little I know about it. All right. End of August. We'll have to see. I don't know if we'll be here in Chicago. Or our plans for the summer are a bit in flux. Dave says, after your long stay in Iowa, what are your plans for staying in Chicago? Are you tempted by the countryside? Are this 2 narwhals in your picture here, Dave? That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, my in-laws, my wife's family is in Iowa, so we love being there. My kids are at the perfect age where, they live for spending time. Not that other people don't at other ages, but they absolutely love spending time with grandma and grandpa and their cousins and stuff. So we want to spend as much time there as possible. But like I said, plans are in flux, but I mean, we're here. Yeah, I mean, during the pandemic, all the things that are awesome about Chicago are the things that were most likely to kill you. So, that meant like all the upside was gone and nothing but downsides. Like, it's cramped. There's lots of people. You don't have a lot of personal space. You don't have a lot of space for your family. You don't have a yard, all that kind of stuff. So like, the numbers don't add up when you're at a time where you're surrounded by communicable disease. But, things are getting better. So it's like my wife and I joked, no major decisions during the pandemic. But then, I made a major career change and stuff. So there goes that. So who knows? We're figuring stuff out. Iraq Oncrest says, what's your take on treadmill running versus outdoor? I would always take outdoor versus treadmill running. I almost did the treadmill running today though, because I was like, it's going to rain all morning, but maybe I'll just hop on the treadmill, crank up the incline and just do an easy hour's worth of incline running today. But I was like, I still just don't want to be inside anywhere, for now. So that's my take on it. Pia Johnson says, hey, Kofuzi, have you ever thought of doing a run EDC? Could get Kofuzi subs to submit theirs. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. That could be a good one. Maybe that'll be a good one to do like after the ultra, after like a big race when I can't like run for a little bit. It's always good to have those kinds of videos where I can just like not have to run for footage, and then just kind of like still have some running related content. Paul Kane says, Mike, which recovery drink do you think is close to the Univet Elite Vanilla? I love it, but could do with a cheaper option for less taxing runs. As far as the flavor goes, for vanilla, my favorite vanilla flavor drink is OWYN. It's OWYN, only what you need. It's not a running specific drink, but it's a plant-based drink and it's peanut safe. If you probably don't have an allergy concern, but we do in the house. So like my wife has been buying that since before I was drinking protein shakes. And so that one tastes great. I really like that one a lot. And it's not exactly the same. It doesn't have all the other stuff that's really nice in the Univet Elite drink. But as far as like just the bare like protein, there's not that much sugar in it either, which is good for a lot of people because then you can always add your own sugar if you wanted to add like milk or if you wanted to add in, whatever else to supplement it. But as far as like a protein shake that tastes like vanilla, that's a pretty good one. And I think it's cheap enough to have every day. But the things that you're missing are like the turmeric and all the other stuff that they have in there. Does that one have beta, the bicarb and the beta alanine? I feel like it has a lot of the other stuff that I can't remember off the top of my head, but a lot of stuff that I feel like really jump starts the recovery and stuff. So yeah. But yeah, so that's a good one, I think, for every day if you like vanilla. Remy says, the REM meditation videos are my favorite. It's actually all I wanted to make. Just the be real in the name. Oh, okay, there you go. My friends told me I should talk more. Yeah, talking is good too, though. I feel like you got to get over it. Not that I'm saying you're afraid of it, but like, you know, it's something that people want, you know, they want to see you talk to, you know. But thanks. I've told you guys a lot of times, I like making the run meditation videos, which is what I did today. I really enjoy those. Those are my favorite. Kurt Steges here says, hey folks, hope all is well, and stopping in for a bit. Good to see you, Kurt. Hope you have a good weekend. Oh, Dave says, have you found your proper cross-country race or steeplechase yet? You know, I haven't even really looked, but maybe I should start looking. You know, because I've been seeing other, you know, races getting promoted on Twitter, like meets and stuff, where it's like, you know, sometimes that they'll like a race director for a track meet will be like, hey, we're having this track meet. You know, these are the standards that you need to meet. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to meet any. If there's a meet that has standards, I'm not going to be allowed in there. But I got to, you know, maybe they're starting to have some of those meets where they have a steeplechase. That's the harder thing is for the steeple is like, even if there's a track somewhere, that doesn't mean it has a steeple pit. So, you know, I don't even know how I'll practice with it, but I got to find one to compete in. That's what I'm gonna do. Maybe, I mean, hopefully maybe there's something in July or so that would fit well into my calendar. If I could find a race with a steeplechase in it in July, I would buy spikes for that. I'll get some spikes but you know, is that bad? Wait, they wear spikes for the steeple, right? But like a lot of those obstacles, do they call them obstacles? What do they call them? The hurdles, but they're not regular hurdles. Whatever the thing is, sometimes they step up on them and jump off, right? So like, how do the spikes fit in that? I guess you got to land on the midfoot when you're doing that. I don't know. I got so much to learn. All I know is I want to do the steeplechase. Even if I land on my face hard a couple times, I just want to do it. I just think it'd be so fun. And it says, Mike, have you thought about looking for a duathlon rather than a tri? Drop the swim until you're ready. I've thought about that. I mean, the Chicago Triathlon, the last time it was ran, it was I think it was a run, bike, run, because the winds were so severe that the water was choppy and it was dangerous to be in the water on the lake. So they've done that before. I like the idea, but I feel like for me, like once we're getting another sport and once we're getting a bicycle involved, I feel like I might as well just do the tri. That's kind of where my mind's at on that one. All right. Luis has some good news. Says, yo, what's going on? Finally, I could register my vaccine shot. Now the waiting game begins. My age group will get AstraZeneca, I think. All right. You know, you're getting a shot, Luis. I'm happy for you. I know you've been waiting, but your turn's coming up. I'm very happy to hear that. All right. Monica and Hanu TV says, hey, Mike, Jay, from not LA today, but from South Korea. Awesome. In the quarantine for the first 2 weeks. All right. It's 3 a.m. Saturday and I'm working. Please let me know if you need anything from Korea. Oh, that's so great. That's so great. Thank you so much. I think I'm good, but very, very cool. Very cool. Glad you're over there and made it safely, and hope the quarantine goes quickly for you. I know that they are pretty strict about that for people that are coming in. Awesome. Sound of Enigma says, Mike, on your recent Strava post, how are you dealing with the heel counter from the heel of the Deviate Nitro? My initial run of 4 miles had me 2-time diamond-sized blisters on my heels. I haven't had anything like that. The only problem that the heel on the Deviate Nitro gives me is that if I'm trying to go fast, like faster than, say, threshold pace, then I feel like not the heel so much, but like the part that's around the ankle, like on top of the heel, it's a little bit sloppy. It's not like squeezing down on my foot. So I feel like my foot is kind of like coming out of the shoe a little bit. So maybe I don't feel like it's really causing any heel irritation or blisters, but it just feels like it's loose back there, you know? So, I mean, maybe we're talking about the same thing and I'm splitting hairs, but I haven't had any blisters though. So I've been okay with it, but I do believe there's space in there for a runner's knot. So you might want to try that. And I don't think they have the longest laces on that shoe, so it might be a little bit tight. Not tight like squeezing, but like it might be a little bit tough to get the runner's knot in there. Maybe you need to replace the laces with some longer ones, but I'll try the runner's knot first. Make sure that you're in there securely. Because if you're getting looseness in there like me, then that could be causing the blisters. All right, Siam says, Vaporfly 2 or Metaspeed for a 10K? Ooh, I'd probably go with the Metaspeed Sky. I mean, if you got them both, I mean, I haven't run in the next percent too. But I do like that shoe a lot. But I also like the Metaspeed Sky a lot. I would go with the Metaspeed Sky personally. All right. Dave says, come to Wales. We've had over 200% average rainfall so far. What? Mud galore. I mean, I definitely want to. I need to plan, like, I don't know when's a great time to go over to the UK. Because I want to plan a running trip over there and visit a whole bunch of people and run in a whole bunch of things. I do want to experience like British mud, because it seems like every time I make a trail shoe video, I always feel like it's full of Brits that are talking about mud. You haven't seen any mud yet. And I'm like, I ran through mud today. And they're like, no, you haven't. So like, that's kind of something that I'd like to experience. Because I just don't think that we get that kind of stuff here in the Midwest for sure. Maybe in the Pacific Northwest they get it, and maybe there's certain parts of like the Northeast and Appalachia that gets that, but we're not getting it here in Chicago. So I definitely want to. I don't want to try the mud, but I just want to be like, all right, this is why you guys like these certain kinds of shoes. Now it makes sense. I want to be able to understand that. All right, let's see what else we got here. Lucas Lily wants to know, is the wife vaccinated? Yes, she is. She had Pfizer. What's the one that has to be super, super cold? That one. That's Pfizer, right? She had Pfizer. She was much tougher about her shots than I was. So she had the 2 doses, and then she had some side effects, but nothing like mine. I anticipate that, like, if there was some sort of objective way to measure like side effects and how like crummy a person might feel for a little bit after taking those shots, I would imagine that, you know, her and mine were of equal severity. I just am not that good at being sick. And, you know, I just whimper a little bit easier than she does. I think she's just tough. So, you know. Bub Tub says at the University of Chicago, they got a steeple pit. And Kurt says in the steeple it's called barriers. All right. Well, I got to learn the lingo first before I show up. I don't want to be, I mean, I would be the noob, but you know, I don't want people to think that I'm disrespecting, you know, like it's one thing. I think if I'm showing up like, hey, it's my first time, guys, I'm totally new and I'm going to mess it up a little bit. I apologize in advance, but I'm trying hard. And it's another thing to be like, you know, I don't care about your event and I think it's goofy and I'm going to mock it. I don't want people to think I'm in that second camp, you know. And Kurt says, yes, you need spikes for it. Okay. All right. I'll get some spikes. And Tony says the Zoom Mamba, the V, is it 5 or V, is specifically for the steeple. All right. Well, there we go. I wanted to get some Zoom Mambas. Nice. I'm getting excited. And I think, like, you know, running a steeple in July, that's the kind of training that I think I could do. I think that'll be good training for July. All right, I'm going to scroll down a little bit because I'm behind on you guys. All right, Ken Sprague says, hey, Elmhurst University is doing a public meet kind of thing July 22nd with Steeplechase. In case I was interested, I'm very interested. I'm extremely interested. I don't think I'm doing anything July 22nd. I'm trying to think about my calendar coming up. I don't have any races scheduled for July, and I was looking for a July race or two to hop into. Oh, man. I think the timing will be good, too, because that'll be a month and a half after the 50K. I can recover, drop down and do some speed work, practice running in some spikes, and then go up to Elmhurst University. That's not that far away, is it? Right? I don't know where it is, I have to be honest. But all right, that I gotta make a note of that somehow. I won't forget Elmhurst University, July 22nd. All right, we're gonna try and do that one. If it I mean, public meet. All right. Hopefully it's just, you know, sign up, drop down some money and get a bib. There we go. Now we're talking. I'm so excited. I hope hopefully they'll let me in. Hopefully they'll let me in. Vincent Veniera says, would you buy the Zoom Fly 3 again? I mean, I don't have any shoes that I would buy again, really. because I've already kind of reviewed them, and there's always new stuff that's coming out. So, yeah, but I'm weird, right? Because I'm reviewing shoes all the time. But I just think that since the Zoom Fly 3 came out, there's been a lot of change in the running shoe market and in that category of speed shoe generally. Because now we've got carbon plated trainers like the Fuel Cell TC, and some would argue the Carbon X2, so we have got some of those, or like even the Deviate Nitro, but we also have some other interesting foams too. I mean, also the Zoom Fly 3 is a carbon plated trainer, but we also got other shoes like the Hyperion Tempo, which are super fun and are not plated, but have really new foam, interesting new foams. I think that I would pick a Fuel Cell TC over the Zoom Fly 3 any day. I think it's just it does what the Zoom Fly 3 is supposed to do, but I think it does it better. I think the Zoom Fly 3 is probably, the upper is probably a little bit better, I would say, although both of them were a little bit on the hot side. But yeah, but I like the Fuel Cell TC better. So I would probably go with that one. Zyklon Wednesday says, triathlon swimming sounds especially awful, and I did swim team going up. I'm really worried because I keep hearing these stories about people getting like kicked or punched or elbowed or even tugged on like under the water, when they're in the race. So I just feel like there's going to be like the pack of swimmers like right here, and I'll just be like, I'm going to stay on this side, guys. Just I'll swim extra. It'd be like, like that one race. What race was that? Where like the dude, like there was like a wrestling match in a 1500. And like the one guy pulled the other guy, like they were shoving and elbowing, and the other guy just pulled the other guy down or grabbed onto him as he was falling. I'm not really sure. It happened so fast. I can't tell what's going on with that. But, in that situation too, like if there was like a super crazy 1500 like that, I would just be like, you guys go, I'll give you guys a 2-second head start. Just don't elbow me when I'm running. I'm having a hard enough time just finishing this 1500 meters. I don't need people elbowing me or stepping on my Achilles with their spikes to make it harder, so that's kind of where I'm at. That's where my mind's at. In fight or flight, I pick flight every time. Leanna says, Heiko fan, Friday before a long weekend, I can testify to Scotty's fun picks on Strava. Yeah, Scotty's picks are great. Did you see that one? He's got like trees that beavers have eaten, and it looks like a cartoon when like people draw in cartoons, like when a beaver is eating a tree. It looks just like that, and it looks fake. I'm having a hard time believing that it's real, but it's there. All right, Rick Sutter says, hey everyone, back watching the live stream after a week of not being able to. Oh, well, glad you're back. So just picked up the Topo Phantom 2s for my long run shoe and looking forward to putting in some long miles this weekend. Tell me about those, Rick. What are the Phantoms? I'm interested in Topo, and I was listening to Doctors Are Running. They were interviewing the guy that started Tony Post or whatever, Topo, and they were saying like, if someone's new to Topo, what's the shoe that they should try? And he's like, I don't want to say it because we're already sold out on it, but I forget which one it is. Was it the Phantom? I don't know. I'd like to try a Topo. I want to hear about your Phantom 2s, though, Rick. Let me know. All right. What else we got here today? Yeah, Leona says, Sarah Place and Ben Parks were just in Wales and loved it. Yeah, they were. I saw Ben was in Forest of Dean today on his Instagram story. Did you guys see that? Is he going to meet up with Andy? Oh, he's going to meet up with Andy. I mean, I think it'd be a shame if you go to Forest of Dean and don't say hi. I mean, he is the Forest of Dean, right? As far as as far as me being someone that's like thousands of miles away, as far as I know, he is. So, yeah. But hopefully they meet up. I think that'd be fun. That'd be great to see. All right. Dave says, as far as mud. So October, November, or March and April, I'd say for mud. We're blessed for running community and trails here. Also, Park Run is back next month. Very cool. All right. October, November. So November might work for me. And then, although not this year, so maybe March, April. Interesting. All right. Lots to think about. Shannon says, repeat question. What's the plan for the race week mileage / time on feet? Oh, okay. This week, I think I'm going to end up in the mid 50s. So a little bit more of a reduction that I would normally kind of plan for 2 weeks out from a race. But, I am recovering from a marathon over the weekend, which, I'm not trying to make like a huge deal of it because I feel like in the ultra space, like that's like a regular weekend for most people. But for me, it's not regular. So, I'm trying to like be reasonable about it. And I'm thinking that I'll probably have like kind of 2 50-something mile weeks in a row. Like on pace for a 50-mile week going into Saturday because the race is on Saturday. So then, next week I'll probably have like 30-something miles going into Saturday. So yeah, so that's kind of the plan. I'll have a long run tomorrow. I'll probably have a little bit of I'll probably just do an easy fartlek, nothing too intense, maybe alternating between like marathon pace miles and maybe some half marathon pace miles. And then a lot of easy miles in there too. But I'd like to have kind of one like medium long run in, and then I'll do another run on Sunday. And then the following week, I don't know. I'm not sure when we're going to head up. I'm not sure exactly what our plans are for the weekend, like where we're going to be staying and stuff. So some things up in the air, but yeah, I mean, I'll probably do another workout on Tuesday as well. So I have a workout Saturday. I'll do a very light workout on Tuesday, maybe another hill surge type of workout where I just running up and down the hill at a faster pace, just to keep the legs sharp, while keeping like the overall impact to the body low and the mileage a little bit lower too. So that's kind of the plan, pretty loose. I'm going to really be focusing more on sleep than I'm going to be focused on any of the running that I do over the next kind of 10 days, 8 days. Yeah. So that's so far what I'm thinking. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Andrea Sorrentino says, how much time will it take to run at MAF heart rate without walking? It took me over a month to get there. And even then I was like really, really slow running. And I was doing a lot of like I was like, easy, slow down a little bit. I was like definitely just playing as close to that number as possible because like otherwise I just was getting frustrated. So it took about a month for me. Some people it turns around in like 2 weeks, but for me it took a while. And yeah, Shannon says, keep those legs itchy for more miles and don't overdo it. Save it for Saturday. Yeah, I think that's definitely a good way to go about it. But I'm worried about like coming screeching to a halt and like just making the legs too groggy. But I guess like as far as too groggy or overworked, I'd rather have my legs be groggy, right? So, okay, yeah. All right, let's see. Paul says, yes, Ben and Sarah were really close to his home in Wales. You could run a park run 5K every Saturday. Ooh, nice. That's nice. Graham Weir says, hi, Co. Which metric do you feel is most reliable for training, power or heart rate? I like the idea of heart rate, but in the summer months, it's very difficult going that slow. I think they're both reliable, but it depends on the interval for me. So like when I'm doing like VO2 max intervals, they're usually a lot shorter, and the heart rate takes a little bit of time to kind of like adapt to tell you if you're like training at the right level or not. And that's where the shorter the interval, the more I look at power. The longer the interval, the more I look at heart rate. So that's kind of how I see it. They have different kind of like response curves, right? So like the power, you're getting instant feedback, and the heart rate takes a little bit longer. But the heart rate, I feel like, is kind of like measuring things from like what your body is feeling. And the power number is purely about output, regardless about how hard you're working to get there. So, I think that like if your goal is to put in a certain amount of work, then the power number is great, but in essence, really then no different than using pace. to guide your workouts. So like I do like heart rate for other kinds of workouts where, you know, if I was saying, all right, I want to do 6 by mile at this pace, or at this power, I want it to be equated to 6 miles of threshold work, that 6 mile might be harder than threshold for me to attain that power number or that pace. If I'm using heart rate, that tells me like I'm working at the right heart rate level or level of exertion to get in threshold kind of adaptation and work. So like that's kind of like there are two things that I think are both useful. If I could only pick one, I'd probably pick heart rate. Leona wants to know if we're going to stay in Iowa for a bit after the Crater Trail run. Probably not. We'll go back at some point. We got to figure that out. My daughter's like in Iowa, they're done with school. Iowa's real weird with the not real weird. Their calendar is very different than the Illinois calendar in terms of when schools are. And so like, I think they're done soon, like within a week or two, with school there. But my daughter will be going to school for like another 3 or 4 weeks, so another couple of weeks. And then in the summer, like they start like August 5th, like middle of August again for school in the fall, which I'm just like, I don't understand. They're always in a hurry. Everyone complains how things are in a hurry. This is like the same area where people complain really loud when like the Walmart puts out the stuff for Christmas too soon. Like they get real mad, but it's also the same state where it's like they want to start school before the state fair is done. They have to pass laws about it to get schools to stop doing that. So it's like just weird. And then they have to close the pools like middle of August because there's no high school kids to work the pools, you know? So it's like still really, really hot in Iowa in middle of August, but the pools are all closed because the kids are in school. So we got to figure some stuff out because I mean, our daughter's in remote school, so we could really in theory be anywhere, but we're not ready to go over there yet. All right. Shannon says, I got the Phantom 1s on clearance because I don't like the Ultra Riveras. And they are comfy, not super responsive, but very comfortable for long runs. All right. You got me looking at them now. I'm going to be thinking about it. Possibly Mediocre says, what do you think about the Hoka One Mach 4 so far? I love that shoe. I think it's great. I did finally get a tech sheet for it from Hoka. And the numbers that I've been reporting are wrong, or the ones that are on Running Warehouse are different than the ones that Hoka says. I think it says I think they were saying it's 29.24, which is the same as the Clifton, which is what it looks like to me. But yeah, so I finally have a spec sheet to look at. I'll have to update those videos. The next time I make a Mach 4 comparison video, I'll clear it up. But yeah, I think it's a great shoe. I really love it. It's for whatever reason, you know, I didn't realize that I had run in other like I've run in ProFly X. I don't love ProFly X. I didn't love it in the Carbon X one. And then I thought that I had not experienced ProFly in other shoes since then. But apparently I had in the Torrent 2, and I really enjoyed the Torrent 2, not realizing that it was ProFly. I mean, I guess I did. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. I feel like I didn't know that. Like I was just looking at the Torrent 2 the other day and I was like, oh, it's ProFly? Okay. But the Mach 4 is ProFly. And I really like what they're doing with it. Like the mix of the soft and the firm in that midsole works really well for just a daily trainer. And I'm really enjoying that shoe. And I feel like they're really nailing like the right mix for ProFly. And now it's in the Zenal as well, which I like that shoe as well. So I mean, I guess that's 3 ProFly midsole shoes that I like now from Hoka. So they're doing. I mean, they're making a lot of headway with EVA. You know, I mean, people like to say Boost is dead. I mean, people think that EVA is boring. I mean, I've been hearing a lot of comments, people saying like, Hoka needs to get away from EVA. It's so old fashioned. I'm like, I don't know. Have you run in the Clifton? Have you run in the Mach 4? It's good shoes. It's good shoes. So. All right. Yeah, Greg Privite says, or Privite, so I'm guessing it's Privite says, how would you compare the Hoka Zenal to the Torrent? I got that question a lot. And as like a road runner, the way that I would tend to think of it as like the Torrent 2 is like the trainer and then the Zenal is the racer. But I don't think that it's quite that simple for trail. And I think that like thinking of it as Zenal being like for shorter races, and then the Torrent 2 for longer races also is another way of looking at that makes sense to me, because they both have 4mm lug outsoles. I do feel like the Torrent 2 is a bit more like has more like traction to it, like in terms of like being able to dig in because of the way that the lug pattern was like spread out, whereas the Zenal seems to be a little bit more like, it still has 4mm lugs, but it seems to be a little bit more speed oriented to me. But yeah, I think that like time on feet, like shorter, that makes a little bit of sense to me. And then I think that like if it were looser terrain, then I might look at the Torrent, even though it's not Vibram, just because of the lug pattern. But here's where a lot of my inexperience with trails, I think, comes in as well, because the Vibram light base on the Zenal doesn't look like it's as like kind of like gnarly to me, but you know, that is it was pretty grippy. And because everything's just more like tight and like, you know, compact, I felt like I could, you know, like race through the rocks a lot faster than the Torrent 2. So that's a couple of ways to look at it. Jane Pelican says, did I miss the 10.9 review? I don't know when I'm going to do that one. Do I do that one before? Should I do that one before the 50K? I don't think I'm going to run the 50K in the 10.9. So like, it's not like I need to test it for that. I'm just trying to figure out when's a good time to do that. And I feel like that's a shoe that I can't be testing that in Chicago. I got to go somewhere for that one. So I'm kind of trying to find the right place to do that. You know, if we were going to spend more time in Iowa, that would have been a good place for it, I think. You know. All right. Losing the camera already. That was a little fast. I don't know what's going on with that today. It says the battery's exhausted. All right. Let's do one more question, and then I got to get going for today. And hopefully that you guys will have a good weekend. I wish you guys a good weekend on that too. Danielle Emberly says, see again, Danielle says, what's going on with this lighting here? This camera went crazy. There we go. Is runner's knee a specific running knee problem or a generic term to describe any kind of running knee issue? I believe it's a specific thing. My understanding is runner's knee is patellar tendonitis, or it could be like whether it's from the patella to the tibia or patella to the femur. It could be either one of those, but like that's my understanding of what runner's knee is a tendon issue. So that's how I understand it. I could be wrong on that because I'm not a medical professional. I just Google stuff on the internet. So that's my understanding of it. Yeah. So it is a specific thing, because like IT band is kind of in the knee area, but it's more lateral. But if someone was like, yeah, I had runner's knee because my IT band was all messed up, I'd be a little bit confused what they were talking about. I'm like, you had what? No, because that sounds to me like two different things. So that's how I understand it. All right. Oh, here's another good question. Zanik L3 says, is there a difference between a singlet and a tank top? Not really. I mean, I use the terms interchangeably. Singlet for me, you know, seems to signify a little bit more of like a racer material, where a tank top could be like any material that doesn't have sleeves on it that you might use for running. But you know, that's kind of as far as running is concerned, you know, those two terms are just interchangeable. Like you said, is it just naming? Yeah, I think it's just naming. All right. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to be, tomorrow's video. So here's what we do. It's going to be, I got a GPX file for that Creator Trail 50K. So I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to load it up into Komoot, because Komoot also has a lot of my routes that I was running in Guttenberg, which is in Bluffs, in terms of like the geographic kind of like terrain. And I feel like that's going to be very similar to some of the stuff that's out in Decorah for the Creator Trail 50K. So we're going to look at this map together. So I'm going to kind of do it like, you know, not a reaction video, because I already started looking at it, but as I was looking at it, I was like, this would be a good thing to kind of think out loud with you guys. So I'm going to do that. So we'll be looking at my computer. We'll be looking at me. I'll kind of do like the little box in the corner kind of thing. So that'll be tomorrow's video. And then we'll also have a live stream. We're going to do weekend time though, 3 p.m. If most of you guys are not here tomorrow because you got like weekend stuff going on, family stuff, friend stuff, totally cool. But for everyone that wants to hang out, or if you got a little bit of time in between, like maybe your brunchy stuff and your evening stuff, let's hang out. 3 p.m. Central Time, not same time as today, the weekend time, 3 p.m. Central Time. Hopefully, either way, you guys have a good weekend and you guys are safe out there. All right, guys. Thanks. Take care.